Hello, America. Welcome to the program. For the next, I don't even know how long, until the Republic collapses, probably, we're going to go over that big chalkboard that we did, except we want to zoom in on certain people, certain days, because you need to really understand all of the players, and it's pretty complex. Today's show, yes, is all about the magnificent Chalupa. So,
yeah, good topic, Glenn.
Not that kind of a chalupa.
It's doing our own homework.
Guys, not
we
that.
agree. They're
No,
really
we're not
what you told us. They're delicious.
Okay, we're talking about this kind of chalupa, Alexandra Chalupa. And mostly it's about her. None of it is about this guy, because this is not what the impeachment is really all about. Now, every time we look at Chalupa and we retrace her path, we stumble into some potholes. So we have to spend some time on a couple of potholes today and fill them in. It's mostly about Chalupa, and I'm trying really hard not to make any Mexican food jokes right now, but they're not helpful. Hopefully, you'll remember Alexandra Chalupa from the Chalkboard special last week. She was a key player in the Democratic National Committee's effort to collaborate with Ukrainian government officials to dig up dirt on Donald Trump during the 2016 election. Let's zoom in on Chalupa specifically and fill in the details that we didn't have time to cram into the Chalkboard show last week. It's kind of like the deleted scenes or the director's cut. Just a quick review. Chalupa is the daughter of Ukrainian immigrants. She grew up in California and has been a career Democratic operative ever since she finished her degree at, what a surprise, University of California, Davis Law School in 2002. She began researching Paul Manafort's activities in Ukraine in 2014. I believe she is the one that was the first to say, I think we can get Trump on Ukraine through Russia. She also is the one that worked with the Ukrainian embassy in Washington to research Manafort, Trump, and Russia. She also worked with Yahoo News journalist Michael Isikoff to publish her findings. When she was in college in 1998, Chalupa was an intern in the Clinton White House. From 2003 to 2004, she was the online constituency outreach director for John Kerry's presidential campaign. Well, John Kerry, wow, this is weird because John Kerry's son is involved with Joe Biden's son in Burisma in Ukraine. In fact, it was John Kerry's son who was there before Joe Biden's son. Anyway, from 2004 to 2005, she was the executive director of Democrats Abroad, a DNC organization that mobilizes Democrats living outside the U.S. From 2006 to 2011, she worked for the DNC. Since 2013, she has worked for the Democratic Party's National Ethnic Council, in addition to her side gigs for the DNC trafficking Ukrainian dirt on Trump. According to the FEC records, the DNC has paid her $412,000 between 2004 and 2016. She was also paid separate, unknown amounts by Democrats abroad. It is truly amazing how the spin machine just kicks into overdrive around Chalupa. In fact, just yesterday, the Washington Post had to run a fact-checker story deflecting for Chalupa, a woman that nobody's ever heard. They think she's Mexican food. Am I right, boys?
So right. Well, good.
Anyway, she was running the DNC's version of the story the Washington Post did, that Chalupa was basically just a regular old soccer mom who happened to be a concerned citizen just doing her little part-time work for the DNC in the 2016 election, mobilizing ethnic communities for the DNC. Now, the party line is that she left the DNC in July 2016. Chalupa said she continuing research on Manafort on her own time, and that she sometimes shared her findings with the DNC and with the Clinton campaign. Wow, okay, believable, I guess. And the Clinton officials say, well, no, wait, we didn't receive any information from Chalupa ever. Well, I'm confused, but if Hillary Clinton says it, it must be true. Now, it's a pretty damn good alibi for the DNC. You know, a contractor that's just working on mobilizing ethnic communities, who just happens to be a passionate defender of all things Ukrainian, who has tons of Ukrainian government contacts, who also happens to visit the Ukrainian embassy in Washington, D.C. a lot. I mean, that's really pretty good. You know what I'm saying? All the while doing soccer mom stuff. That's who she is. Soccer. Am I the only one not getting a chalupa?
Sorry.
Can you?
They have free chalupa.
All right. All right, so soccer mom. In 2017, January 2017, Political came out that blew the lid off the Chalupa DNC Ukraine connection. Chalupa responded with a Facebook post saying, I was just part-time consultant for the DNC running an ethnic engagement program. I was not an opposition researcher for the DNC, and the DNC never asked me to go to the Ukrainian embassy to collect information. That's shocking. Now, first of all, like I said, pretty amazing part-time gig. The DNC paid her $71,000 in election year alone. Wow, that is a lot of money for part-time. Good gig if you can get it. They just love women, I think. Second, even if the DNC did not explicitly ask her to pump the Ukrainian embassy for information, no one, including Chalupa, denies that she was definitely pumping them for information. And it was all the while she was on the DNC's payroll. Yeah. Now, trying to paint Chalupa as an innocent actor in all of this is going to be pretty losing as a battle, because Chalupa, along with her two sisters, Andrea and Irina, they're great. Here's Andrea. She's pretty. And here's Irina. We all have to say she's pretty, and probably her much younger sister. Okay, so there are the two sisters. They're one-stop shop for Ukrainian political activism. In addition to being an occasional journalist for outlets like the Huffington Post, Andrea, she funded something called Digital Maidan. Digital Maidan, I wonder what that is. Oh, well, that's just something that was created to support the removal of Ukrainian President Yanukovych. What is it? Yanukovych. Thank you. Maidan refers to the name of Independence Square in Kyiv. Digital Maidan organized tweet storms to flood Twitter with anti-Yanukovych messages. Now, I'm sure she forgot all about this, but it also then did tweet storms aimed at Donald Trump, like this one. Yeah, you see treasonous Trump there. Just 3 weeks before the 2016 election, hashtag treasonous Trump. Now, her other sister, she's classy. Irina is also very, very active in Ukrainian affairs. She loves affairs in Ukrainian. She has been a journalist in Kyiv and was a longtime editor at a place called the Atlantic Council. I love the Atlantic Council. It's one of my favorite councils. I like the Pacific, but the Atlantic, just a little warmer. She was the lead contributor to bi-weekly reports called Ukraine Alert. Now, interesting side note, only that, a senior fellow at the same think tank is this guy, Dmitry Alpobervich, whatever his name is, that guy. You know what's crazy? They're on the same board, and he happens to be the CTO of CrowdStrike. Hey, where have I heard that before? Hello, it's Donald Trump. Yeah, that's one of the guys. That's the one that right there. They were the securities firm that the DNC hired to investigate the 2016 hacks, which is weird because somebody hacks into me and I'm looking for security. I'm looking for somebody who's going to really tell me what was going on and be on the up and up. I don't hire anyone named Dmitry, but that's just me. Now, the Atlantic Council, the think tank, receives considerable funding from a Ukrainian oligarch named Viktor Pinchuk. That's great. He's my favorite Pinchuk. Now, this guy is a former member of the Ukrainian parliament and sits on the board, the International Advisory Board of the Atlantic Council. That's great. So we got all this together. Incidentally, and it's only a passing footnote here, he also happens to be one of the most prolific donors to the Clinton Foundation. In 2013, the Atlantic Council awarded Hillary Clinton its Distinguished International Leadership Award. She is so fantastic. I mean, really, it's an honor just to be nominated. Now, back to Irina. Now, Irina now works for an organization called Stop Fake. What is Stop Fake? Sounds good. Sounds like Patriot Act. Well, this was a site that was going to verify and refute disinformation and propaganda about any event in Ukraine. Now they've expanded a little bit. Now they debunk, edit, translate, research, disseminate information in 11 languages. Oh, that's so helpful to have somebody translate things. Anyway, you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. So she does deep fake. And you know who organization funds this? You remember the chalkboard last week? It was the International Renaissance Foundation that lost a whole bunch of your money. Yeah. Well, I told you last week it was being investigated by the prosecutor general. The guy Joe Biden pressured the Ukrainian president to fire, and that was the same U.S. ambassador to Ukraine said, "Hey, you can't prosecute." And the person who is the major funder of this, which is the major funder of this, and a major funder of this is, I mean, do I need to say it? Now, the Chalupa sisters, undeniably very active in engaging and supporting and promoting regime change in Ukraine. And Alexandra Chalupa was undeniably engaging and using her Iranian connections to alter the 2016 election. In 2016, in April, she spoke to some people in Connecticut near Paul Manafort's hometown at an event called Defend Ukraine, Protest Paul Manafort, Putin's Trojan Horse. You know what's crazy about that? Is just 3 days later, Michael Isikoff, you remember him, Michael Isikoff, who was a guy who wrote a piece about Paul Manafort, which was her big idea that there had to be something wrong. This is crazy. And so she's talking to Paul Manafort. She invites him to this, this research speech. She's like, "Hey, you got to come and hear this because this is crazy. I'm speaking at the Library of Congress." Her audience? Well, her audience was nothing but a bunch of Ukrainian investigative journalists, 68. Directly after the event, Isikoff escorted Chalupa. There's that word again. How is it, guys? Good so far?
Amazing. Shout outs a lot.
Amazing. Yeah, it does.
So they had a reception hosted at the Ukrainian embassy. You remember the embassy she said she was never a part of? You know, this embassy where she was never going to, and the embassy that was also the counterpart to our embassy that seems like they were both in because both Trump and the new president just fired these two, and they talked about it in the phone call. That's weird. Well, she was so thoroughly insulated by the entire Democratic Party, she felt, yeah, I still have to lawyer up because they're going to come after me. We don't know why, but she just had this premonition. They're going to come after me. So she lined up representation, and I have to tell you, these three, they're smart. They are smart because they lawyered up, and when she lawyered up, she got the best. She got Michael Avenatti. She was very excited to have Avenatti on board. She tweeted, quote, "I'm now," or he said, "I'm now representing Alexandra Chalupa," and she was very excited about this.